This time in Yorkshire, we leave the beautiful views of Oakworth to drive into the gorgeous Yorkshire Dales, heading for the picturesque town of Grassington, amongst other beautiful places along the way. Whilst Grassington and the Dales are used as the backdrops for all creatures great and small, there is much more to this tiny town, as we'll discover. Good morning from Oakworth. This was our view at 7 AM from the terrace of our lovely Airbnb, home for just a few days whilst we explore West Yorkshire and the Dales. The garden room is just outside the village on a farm, providing these wonderful views of the ever-changing weather, with Haworth in the distance and the moors that the Bronte sisters walked and played during their lives. We'll be exploring more of this in future videos, as today we're taking a road trip to the Dales on a bit of a grey drizzly day, heading for Grassington. The drive takes us through small villages, across farmland and through the narrow winding roads of the Yorkshire Dales, some of which are not for the faint-hearted. The Yorkshire Dales National Park is a hiker and climber's paradise encompassing thousands of square miles of moors, valleys, hills, beautiful towns and villages. Grassington is probably one of the most visited, more so in recent years due to the reboot of All Creatures Great and Small. A tiny town with very much a village vibe. We parked in the Yorkshire Dales National Park's car park on the outskirts of the centre. This cost £3 for a day. It's a short walk back into the town square where we start our look around in this ancient former lead mining village, which also has some wonderful walks in the surrounding areas, one of which we'll take a look at later. Grassington was granted a charter to hold a market and fair in 1282, which continued up until the 1860s. It is crammed full of independent retailers selling clothes, furniture, along with cafes and gift shops. A few pubs include the Devonshire Hotel, famous as the Drover's Arms for the outside shots from the TV show. Lead mining was carried out around Grassington from the 15th century. George Clifford, Earl of Cumberland, became Lord of the Manor, and he brought skilled men from his Derbyshire mines to work in the mines on Grassington Moor. You can find out more about this in the Grassington Folk Museum just on the square. It's open for a few hours a day, run by volunteers. It's formed by 2 converted cottages. Right next to the Folk Museum is the property used as Skeldale House in the new series. They add a portico and change the door to make it more in keeping with the period. The car is also changed to something a little more vintage as well. It's called the Manor House, 17th century, and was probably owned by the Duke of Devonshire, now converted into flats. Across from the Manor House are a few shops, Endelby Grocers and Dean Drapery and Hosiery in Darrowby. The building there forms part of what was the Liverpool warehouse dating from the 18th century. It became a one-stop shop for the workforce of the Dales till 1920, and goods arrived on the canal from Liverpool. Let's head up Gars Lane, passing the impressive Black Horse Hotel, including a sweet pub and restaurant. It dates from the 17th century and has had a few name changes over the years. There is a nice outdoor seating area for a beer. The Grassington Hub, a community centre and library, squeezes into a little nook to the side of the pub. We'll carry on up Gar's Lane and walk a loop back down into the square. There are some lovely properties to show you along the way. This is the Town Hall and Devonshire Institute, built in 1855 as a mechanics institute which provided adult education for working men in the Victorian era. The Duke of Devonshire gave it to the parish council at the end of the 19th century, and he gifted a chiming clock. There is a lovely crafts and carving shop at the top of Main Street, and the house next door has an amazing display front garden not to be missed. Grassington was mentioned in the Domesday Book of 1087, with arable land being taxed and paid to the king. Farming was also a large part in its development, with 13 mills popping up in the area, some along the River Wharfe. The Romans were here from 50 AD. The area was an important grain-growing site, and further back still, archaeological sites in the area show Bronze Age activity as well. Heading down Main Street, we are walking back into the centre and the square, avoiding some of the larger agricultural machinery that squeeze through the narrow streets. The old polishing shop is home to Rob Kane, a master French polisher, a trade you don't see often these days. He runs classes and has been on TV a few times. The town holds a number of festivals and events throughout the year, including a 1940s weekend and a Dickensian Christmas in December. This website has a wealth of information on what's on, where to stay and what to see. The Forester's Arms, the third delightful inn to drink, eat or stay during your visit to Grassington. As you can see, a lot of wonderful shops and eateries are squeezed into this compact town. Back in the square we can see more shops used in the filming of All Creatures Great and Small. In a future video we will visit Thirsk and the veterinary surgery, now a museum, where Alf White wrote his James Herriot books, so do subscribe so you don't miss it. The Rustic Rabbit was the Higgins Bakers, and Walker's Bakery was the Ironmongers in Darrowby. This tiny shop was Hurst Laundry. Even the post office didn't escape a makeover and had its frontage changed to woods, sweets, tobacco and books for filming. Grassington House is a lovely 18th century property, once lived in by some wealthy bankers from Skipton. It is now a hotel, bar and restaurant, probably one of the more luxurious in the town. Church House was built in 1694 as a yeoman's cottage, meaning a free man that lived in the country and owned his own land, usually a farmer. It was later Chapman's Temperance Hotel, a hotel with no alcohol. In 1925 it was purchased by Linton Church. Walking back to the National Car Park, the Yorkshire Dales Information Centre is a good place to find out more about some of the walks you can do in the area. We are going to take an easy downhill stroll to Linton Falls, just 15 minutes from the town centre. This is the lovely thing about Yorkshire. The rolling hills and fluffy sheep are just moments outside all the villages and hamlets, with stunning scenery around you. We just love this dry stone wall that guides you down to the River Wharfe. Medieval Grassington was the most important village in Upper Wharfedale, encompassing industry and farming. Many of the mills that popped up during the Industrial Revolution were along this river. Sadly, they've all been demolished now. The thundering water that passes through, powering the machinery in the textiles and corn mills back in the day. When steam power took over, huge mills in Lancashire and the Yorkshire cities developed, aided by the creation of the railways linking other parts of the country. Smaller mills in the Dales became uneconomical to maintain. The limestone rocks we see from the bridge were formed where a fault in the Earth's crust shifted millions of years ago, raising the limestone rocks to the north up higher than those to the south. If you want just a short walk, then Linton Falls is a lovely place to spend half an hour or so, and you can walk along the river to loop back into town rather than following the same path we took out. Your visit to Grassington will certainly involve some driving through the Yorkshire Dales, and we really encourage you to explore the winding roads, whatever the weather, for an exhilarating drive or hike if you're walking. There are plenty of picturesque places to stop and admire the scenery. Our plan was to stop at the pretty market town of Hawes, and as cheese lovers, the Wensleydale Creamery. But arriving around lunchtime, we found the place very busy due to a midweek market, and there was absolutely nowhere to park. Even the creamery was full. So sadly, we decided to drive on for a drink at the Green Dragon in Hardraw, a few miles further on. The inside shots of the Drovers Arms in Darrowby are filmed in this pub, but arriving as it started to rain, we found that sadly it's been closed until further notice due to the rise in energy costs, making it uneconomical to open. We did manage a few sneaky pictures through the window of the wonderful old pub where James and Siegfried have a pint, so it wasn't a total failure. The Hardraw Force waterfall entrance is right next to the pub if you want to hike to England's largest single drop waterfall. Expect the unexpected in the Dales, low cloud and more drizzle obscuring our view for some of the drive. The map shows you our driving route today out of Oakworth in a loop, across the Dales and back. Of course, this is just a small taste of what you could see in the villages and towns you could visit. Exploring it properly will take a number of days. Another interesting stop is at the Ribblehead Viaduct that carries the Settle to Carlisle Railway. This impressive structure has 24 arches, is 104 feet high and 440 yards long. Designed by John Crosley, Chief Engineer at Midlands Railways, construction started in 1869. 2,300 men worked on it. Hundreds of railway builders, navvies, lost their lives due to a combination of accidents, fights and a smallpox outbreak. It was finished in 1874 and the line opened in 1876. You can take a walk down around the arches if you're so inclined. Now is a good time to tell you what's on the next episode in our Yorkshire adventure. The Bronte sisters brought us timeless classic novels like Wuthering Heights, Jane Eyre and The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, based on their life experiences in and around West Yorkshire. We walk in their footsteps and visit some of the places they lived or visited, piecing together their tragically short lives lived in the shadow of death. It was for us, and hopefully for you, a fascinating insight into a family whose novels still resonate with a 21st century audience.
So that's it for our tour here in Grassington. What a lovely village. Great seeing all the houses and places used in All Creatures Great and Small, the new series. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please do subscribe, give us a like, and we'll see you on another video in Yorkshire very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.